Hello, it's me, and after having done the binocular cube, which is a cubic transformation of a master Pyraminx, and the trinocular cube, which is a cubic transformation of a professor Pyraminx, I thought I'd take out this mass-produced puzzle over here, the royal Pyraminx. So you got this puzzle, or somebody bought you this puzzle, and you want to know how to solve it. And it's this really bizarre, fascinatingly complex puzzle, and you'd like to know the approach. So we're going to go through that. Now, a while ago, I'd actually done a solve of this version of it. This is actually the first version. This is the three-dimensionally printed version from Shapeways that I got from Timur so long ago. You can see how much smaller it is compared to the mass-produced version, but it's really the same puzzle. This had a couple of structural issues with it, so I solved it once or twice, but we had to get a kind of a ball core instead of a different kind of a core that they had. And then, of course, this isn't the final story. The final story is this guy, which is the Elite Cube, the Elite Pyraminx, rather, which is the 6-layer version. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, 7 if you count this. So this one isn't mass-produced as of yet, and I don't know that it ever will, but you can see the mass-produced version of the Royal Pyraminx is even larger than the Elite Pyraminx. This one is a fun puzzle, very difficult to move just because of the small parts, some layers better than others, but this one I decided to get because, well, although I have this version of it, this one seems a lot more stable in the mass production. Now, I'd already gone through a solve of this puzzle, but the thing is, I never in my wildest dreams would believe that this would eventually be mass produced. I just couldn't believe that that would ever happen. So when I first did a tutorial on this, it wasn't really a tutorial, it was more of a demonstration. I wanted to give Timur some more exposure, have more people see what kind of what kind of talent that he had. But I never really believed that this would be mass-produced enough where it could be in the hands of everybody. So when I have a puzzle that's like that, I kind of go through more just the solve of it rather than an actual demonstration or tutorial. But I figure since one of these can be in everybody's hands, that I would slow it down a little bit and take it from the perspective of anyone who has this puzzle and wants to go through the process of solving it. Now, I should say, to solve this puzzle, you really need to get yourself one of these and know how to solve this. So I'm going to assume that you know how to solve a Pyraminx, which is not a difficult solve at all. And if need be, I can do a tutorial on it, but I'm going to assume for this purpose that you know how to solve this puzzle if you're going to solve this. I'm also going to assume that you know how to do a master's cube, and knowing how to solve a professor's cube is also needed because of how to deal with these. Now I'm going to go through some of those algorithms again, so if you haven't solved this before, it's not as necessary, but you need to understand the concepts of a Pyraminx. Now notice, we're now to the point in our complexity of this puzzle where the very center of this puzzle is really basically a Pyraminx. You kind of have the same structures here. You've got the tip over here, which correlates with this. You've got these 3 pieces, and you've got these 5 pieces over here. So the center of your royal Pyraminx is basically a Pyraminx, which I find kind of fascinating. So just like with the binocular cube, I referred to a small turn and a large turn, but it's pretty limited the kind of turns that you can do, so there's a lot of down, down, up, up of it. So I'm going to start off by scrambling, doing these trivial tips, and you may say, why design a puzzle with trivial tips? And the reason? Because it looks cool, and to me that's good enough. So we're going to go ahead and scramble this up, and there's no particular way that I have to do it. I'm just going to go through a series of motions here. I'd always wondered what it was that would make people watch the solve of a puzzle that most people can't get. I mean, maybe you can figure out some universal strategies with that, but it always seemed to make more sense when it has to do with mass-produced puzzles. Alright, so I'm going to keep scrambling this up here. So this puzzle is very much worth getting because it's very playable. It's a large puzzle, but despite that, it's very portable. It's not ungainly. Its pillowed shape allows it to be held well. To be honest with you, I would rather, for aesthetic purposes, it not be pillowed, but it's actually okay because it does make it easier to hold and a little easier to turn. but you can see popping with this puzzle is not an issue. I'm able to throw it into a lot of different positions. Okay, so I think we are good. Yeah, I think we're pretty good. Maybe I can solve this or scramble this a little bit more here and separate this out from here. Okay, so there it is, a very intimidating looking royal Pyraminx. Now there's no cubic version of this, which would be a, I don't know, a quadocular puzzle. Anyway, so what is the first step? Well, the first step, like with any of the Pyraminxes, is I first start to put in the trivial tips. So this just kind of gets you in the mood for solving, makes you feel that maybe the puzzle's not so difficult. Now I'll tell you, it is pretty straightforward. You just have to look at positioning. The next thing that I do is I try to coordinate the puzzle by putting in, by matching these colors here with this and this. So I match these pieces over here. Now this is one piece, as you can see. It just has 3 stickers around it. So that's going to line up where my sides are. That's pretty much what I did with the centers over here too. Here, here, and here. And it's what I did over here with here, here, and here. And it's what I did with this, this, and this. So same kind of thing. So where is my other... So here's a red, and I guess the other red is over here. So I'm going to turn this to here and here. So I've got these red sides together. I've got these blues together. Turn this over here, the blue is here. So you can see all these are in. Now you know that the next step that I do with the Pyraminx solve is I've got to coordinate the centers. I've got to put the centers in. So just like with this, once I put these guys in, I had to get these centers in. And that was just a matter of, you know, pushing it in. Same thing with this, although there's more to the center, I had a central piece here that was going to coordinate it, so I just had to move that in. And then I had an algorithm that moved these guys around. Well, this one is a little more unusual because there's no one center. Just like with the Pyraminx, there's no one center. These kind of perform that function. So too, there's no one center piece here to coordinate it. I have to define it based on these guys over here. So the real center pieces, and if we were to look at the center here, is this, this, and this. All of these pieces that are just below what would be the equivalent of a Pyraminx trivial tip. This is going to be what I'm going to define as my initial center. These over here, I'm going to define these as like the center edges because they perform the same functions as the edges here. And these I'm going to call the central tips because they have homologies to the Pyraminx tips. So this is my centers, my true centers, my central edges, and my central tips. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get these in to be the same color as these guys over here. So I need to get a red one in. Here's a red one here, so I'm simply going to move this over here. Bang, so that's it. Okay, what else? Well, here's another red one over here. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to position it here and simply move it up. Now I've got to remember to move this back, to get these back in. So I've got 2 in. Here's the third one. The way this is going to work is I have to displace, I have to move it into here, displacing a piece. Well, actually with this center, if I can just move it in, not like that, position it over here, and simply move it in like that. Okay, I do have to remember always to get this back. So you can see this, this, and this is in. Now that was easy for the first one. Let's do the next one. The next one is yellow. I don't have any yellows in, so I can just blast them in. I can put both of these in, and it doesn't take any of these out. Let's move it over here. I need to move this one in, and the way that this is going to work is I can't just move it in from this perspective. To move it into here, I'm going to end up displacing this, and I'm going to end up destroying this. So what I have to do is I have to move it into a place that's already taken by one of these and displace it. I can't move it in here yet because it's going to displace that and I have no place to go. So I'm actually going to move it. I'm going to see where this is going to turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it in a position where it displaces just one piece, not two, and not where it's supposed to be, just one piece. So I'm going to move it in like that, which displaced this one. Then I'm going to simply move this in position like so, and now move it back. So these are in. Now I've got to move this back over here. Just remember to keep replacing what you took out. And remember, I turned this, I'm going to move this back in over here. By doing it that way, I've got these three that are in, and I did not change this. Okay, let's move on. Here's a green, no blue. I've got this blue in. I've got two over here. So I can move this into here, which will displace this green, and then move it in this position to bring it back. So I move it in. Then I move this to the side. Now the reason why I've got to move it back down is because I displaced one of my centers here, and then move this back down and move this in. Okay, so now it got these back. So we've got blue and blue. Here's the other blue. I don't want to move it in from this angle because it's going to displace both of these. It's just got to be one. So I'm going to move it in, well, not in any of these positions because I'm always going to be displacing two. So I'm going to take this, move it here. The reason is because when I move it in here, I'm only displacing one of them. So I move it in, which displaced the other blue, turn it back in this position, and then move the blue back. Now remember, because you turned it, I've got to turn it back, just like so. Now you can see that these don't match up because if you remember, I turned this side. These greens are all matched. I simply turn this back. Okay, so blue, blue, and blue are in. Red, red, and red. Yellow, yellow, and yellow. And by default, we've got green, green, and green. So in that way, I just had to take one extra step, but I pretty much did the equivalent of putting these centers in over here. Okay. The next step that you want to do is you want to put in these edges over here. Now, I'll tell you that it's going to be a little bit difficult because if you do it the same way, if you try to just coordinate it by doing down, down, ups, treating these as though it were Pyraminx or Tetraminx, if you negate these tips, you're going to run into possible issues where you're going to have misplacement of everything is in except maybe one here and one here. So here's my suggestion. Now here's what I would recommend. I would treat this like it was an edge that has two colors, because this edge has two colors, right? White and blue, but they're really the same piece. So too, this edge, which is the same piece, has two colors. In that way, whenever I put these edges in, it'll be coordinated with the other edges around here. So if I start putting this in, it would look better, it would be better for me if I pretended like both of these were the same piece, this and this. Because if I'm putting this piece in, it's not going to correlate with what's over here, and I could end up stuck. So I have to put both of these in at the same time by making sure this is opposite the correct color over here. Now the question is, how do I do that? How do I know it's supposed to be opposite this particular one? I can look over here and say, well, there's a yellow and red, so maybe it's got to be a red that's opposite this. So here's what I would do. We're going to do a reductive step. We're going to take this edge, this outer edge, and reduce it with these center edges. By reducing it with these center edges, we're going to be in a position to much more easily place the rest of these centers and place the edges at the same time. So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to be doing a reductive step where we're actually going to match these colors with the center colors, move them out of the way, and then place it back. So there's going to be moving it in, which displaces this, and then moving it back. So let me actually demonstrate what that is. You can see that this is green and yellow. So we have to move this into a green center. I'm looking down here. Let's see if there's an easy one to demonstrate with where I don't have to do too much motions. Okay, so here's one over here. Here's a yellow, and I want to match it with this yellow center. What I'm going to actually do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to move it down, and it'll displace this blue. So I'm going to move it down like this, and you can see this is matched. I want to move it back up, but I got to move this out. I'm going to exchange it with this by going down, down, and I'm moving it from the center here, up, up. Okay, I didn't move down from here, I moved it down from here. Now once I've done that, I take this and I simply move it back up. So in that way, what that did, so that put this in over here. Now I'm going to go one step further. Now remember, every move that I do, I have to move back. I'm going to go one step further. Let's say I wanted to move another one in. Let's get another one here. Okay, I've got a red center. I've got this. I'm going to make it turn over here. Okay, I just have to remember I got to turn it back when I'm done. Now, what I would recommend is instead of turning it at the edge, because I might have put something out over here. Actually, let me do it this way, because it might be easier to see. See this? I'm going to match this up with this over here. When I do a down, down, up, up, when I exchange it, yeah, so it's going to exchange with this. So this will come down, and then it'll exchange with this. This is going to end up flipped over to here. Now I'm going to displace the green when I move this down. Wouldn't it be nice if I could put a green center right here? Because then when I move this to here, the displaced green edge will come up to join that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a green one. Now I notice a green one over here. Because it's a green one over here, if I, instead of doing down with here and down with here, if I went in this direction and went down, down over here, that green will move over to here. So this is still over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up like so, which displaced this green. Then I'm going to go down, down, up, up. That moved this green over here, and I simply move it back. Boom. So in that way, I've reduced this and I've reduced this. So that'll make this work in double time. Now from time to time, as I'm reducing it, these are reduced, these are reduced, these are reduced, I may have to make some turns. When you do a turn, don't turn it from the end, because you can see if I do that, I'm going to be taking this away from the center. Move it like this. So you're only going to be causing deconstruction by moving it like this, 2 layers in. So let's see what else has to happen. This is in, this is not. So this, I need to find a yellow. Here's a yellow over here. So I'm going to turn this in place. So I'm going to move it from this side. Not like this, but like this. So if I turn it like so, I just got to remember to turn it back. This yellow is going to match with this yellow, displacing a red. So I want to put a red center over here. I look to see, is there any red centers I can use, and there isn't. So what I can do is I can move other pieces in this position. I'm going to move this up. Is it red? Nope. Move it back. Move it again. Is it red? Nope. Move it back. So far we're running into a little bit of a trouble with that. So let's see if there's a red center over here actually. So if I move this down, here's my red center. So what I'm going to do, I just have to remember to move it back up when I'm done. So remember, I'm always moving through the center. So when I do my down, down, up, up, this will come like this, and then this will come like that. So the one that you took out is going to be the first one that you're going to move. The one that you're going to exchange it with is the next one that you're going to move. So we're going to take this orange and bring it down. And now we're going to go turn, 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 turn. I exchange it with this. This red one is now here, so I can go like splat, and it brings this back. Now I have to remember to move this back up like so. Now remember, I did another bit of a turn, and I can tell which one it is because these two greens are together. This yellow one, this orange one is not. So I'm simply going to move it back into place like so. Now because I'm moving it from the center, I'm not destroying anything that I've reduced. Okay, so let's look around for more, and as you're doing this, you're putting 2 in at the same time, so it's going to go pretty fast. As a matter of fact, I think I'm down to the last 2. So here's a blue. This has to match up with another blue, which is right over here. Okay, so let's see how we're going to coordinate that. This blue needs to find its way to here, so I'm going to move this into the position over here. But I got to move it, I don't want to just move one because it's going to disenfranchise that. So I got to move it once again from the middle, splat. Okay, So this blue will come down to here and knock out this red. This red will be taken down here. Now luckily I've got a red right over here, but I have equivalency of centers. So this is going to end up flipping to here. So we're going to bring this down like so. Boom. This is now reduced. Then I go down, down, up, up, and I'll simply bring this back. Red went back to red, and this one over here too. We then move back where we put it in before, and now as you can see, I think all of these are reduced. These outer edges are reduced with these central edges. Reduced, reduced, reduced. So this went pretty quick, and it really does go that quickly. The main things to remember is that when you move it, if you want to set things up, don't turn from the edge, turn from here. You only turn from the very edge when you're moving it down, doing your down, down, up, up, and bringing it back, like that. Okay, now that you've done that, now we have these central edges coordinated with the opposite central edge, so I can more easily place that without causing any trouble. Trust me, if you try it another way, it's not going to work so good. So I'm going to do this Pyraminx style, and this is where we're going to draw upon the strategies of a Pyraminx. So, and again, it's all down, down, up, up stuff. For instance, this is here, but it's upside down, so I kind of want to move that out. But let's move others in first. So this would love to come over to here for the green one. This is not the correct one anymore. It could be, but this is not the correct one because this is bonded with this. But this is with the blue, and that wants to be in this blue center, and that's where I'm at, is the blue. So we're going to go up, across, down, back. It's just another down, down, up, up kind of a thing. So when I move it in from an area, I got to move it from the same layer, but in a different angle. So notice this is in and this is in, so I know that it's right. Okay, what else do we have? Let's put the other green if we can find it. These are just the middle moves here. Okay, here's another green here. This needs to make its way to here. So I'm going to move this down, but understand, you can see that I have to move it from the center here. You don't want to move it here because you're going to destroy all of your reduction. So I'm just going to move it, splat. I just got to remember to move it back. So this green and red is going to come up to here, and I'm going to exchange it with this. So this and this. So these three are going to participate. So we have up, and then up, down, down. Okay, once I've done that, I can now move this back to where it was. And as you can see, these are now in. So as I'm putting these green centers, I'm putting these other centers in also. Okay, the final green is green and yellow, which is right over here. And what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to take this, because this green wants to end up over here. So let's move this in this position here. So this green will slide into here, and it's got a 3 cycle with what's over here. Now the problem is, do we like where this is? And the answer is no. This is not correct anyway. So I'm going to move this back. So this will come to here. So put it in, exchange it with this, bring this back, and bring it down. And after doing that, I'm now going to move this back. So as you can see, these greens are now all in. Except for these tips, the central areas here are in and the central edges. And as such, this is in and this is in. So now we're just going to keep going, Pyraminx style. Okay. This is a blue and red. This is going to come here. Even though you see this red over here, it's the wrong one because this is going with this guy. We don't want that. So this is going to exchange, it's going to come up here, and then I may want to exchange with this, but this is already in, so we don't want to use that. So I'm going to roll another one up to see if that can be used. Oh, this is in. The problem is that all these greens are solved, so I can't use any of those. Okay, so how am I going to roll this in? So what I'm going to do, I think, this doesn't belong. These two don't belong. So I'm just going to move this up like so. By moving it up, I can then take this, bring it in here, and this can participate by coming the other way. So we're going to take this, bring it in, and then in the same plane, move this across, then bring it down, and then bring this back. So you have to kind of get used to taking it out and bringing it in from another angle. And now this one that I moved, I simply move it back. Okay, now that was the final one that I had to do, because now you can see this is in, this is in, this is in, and this is in. Now if that didn't seem too clear, I was just using Pyraminx moves. So shut everything else out and pretend like you're just solving a Pyraminx. Because to do that, it's all based on that down, down, up, up. So to 3-cycle these, you went down, down, up, up, and a 3-cycle these guys over here. So if I wanted to say move this down to here, I then have to move another one in this plane as well. So down, then I have to move this down to exchange with it, down, then up, up. It was really the same thing. So all of these are in, and what that does is this now defines the center that I so easily defined here. This has become this, or rather this has become this. This has now become this. And I have yet to do these, but I already have a technique to do that. Okay. Now, in addition to that, I also placed all of these edges. All of these edges are placed with the right colors. The next step now is to put these in, these colors over here. This is going to be another down, down, up, up, but you're going to be doing two types of moves. You're going to do a short move and a long move. Because when you do that, you're not overlapping the edges over here. So you don't take out the things that you already put in. So you do a short and a long, or a long and a short. And here's what that's going to look like. Okay, well here's a green and yellow. Where does this need to go? This needs to go somewhere here. One of these green and yellows over here. So I'm going to take this, because these are green and yellows, and I'm going to move. Now at this point you don't have to move both like that. You don't have to do that because it already served its purpose. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to move the bottom over to here. Okay, so this green and yellow is going to slide all the way down to here. Okay, so this is going to slide down to here like that. Actually, that's the wrong angle because I have to move the green one in. So I'm actually going to have to move it up like this. That way this green can be on the correct green side. So it's going to be a short move like that. Now to do the proper exchange, I have to exchange it with a long move all the way up here, because this is the long move that cuts into this. So find the short move that cuts into this and the long move. So we're going to go short across, long up, short back, long down. That places this, and I have to remember to move this down. Now I don't have to move it like this anymore. I can now move it like that. Alright, so what you're going to find is this was placed. So this is in and this is in. So here's the other green and yellow. This has to come over to here. You can see it's in the wrong place. But if I move it down here, now a short move will move it in, right? But I have to get a long move across here to exchange it with. So I have to make sure this one isn't in, and it's not. Although this is the right color here, it's not the right color over here. So we've got short move up, long move up, short move down, long move down. And then once I've done that, I'm just going to move this back and over here. Okay, so what did that do for us? Well, what it did is it put all of these in. So this green and yellow are all in. Okay, so I can keep going around with the greens if I want to. Here's a green and red. This is upside down. We'll have to deal with that later, I think. Any more green? Here's a green and blue. This is upside down. So basically, this needs to go over to here. So if I turn it like this, it's actually going to go over to here. So slide to here. And the short one here will slide over to here. And this one is not in yet, so I don't have to worry about that. So long, turn over here. Short, turn over here. Long turn turn back, short turn back. Okay, now I simply move this back over here. Okay, so now this is in and this is in. Didn't mess anything else up here and didn't mess anything else up over here. Okay, I'll just keep going on with the greens. So this green, we just have to get this out. So let's move the proper green and red. It's not this. This green and red doesn't belong here. It actually belongs over here. So if I wanted to be clever about it, well, let's not be clever about it. Let's just find the green and red that belongs over here. It's right over here. So actually, this is kind of lucky because this green and red can pop into this position just like that. That's a short move. The long move is down here, and this isn't even in, so I can move this up and not worry about exchanging this. So short move across, long move up, short move back, long move down. And lo and behold, that put the right one in and kicked the wrong one out and put it here. Now, how can I coordinate getting this one to here? Because it's a long move away, what I would have to do is I would have to make this move over here. And now I can do it with a short move like this. That's in the right configuration. But I need to do a long move, which I can move with this. This long move cuts through this plane too. So I need two that cuts through this plane, one long move and one short move. Well, here's my short move over here. Short up, long across, short back, long back over here. And I simply move this back over here. So you can see now I've got all my greens. Good, good, good. Oh, I still need this. And all these are in over here. So I need a green and a blue. Where's my green and blue? Right over here. So I'm going to move this to here. And that's not going to come in because it's going to be a short move on the wrong way. This green is going to end up over here. So if that move doesn't do it, I'm just going to move it like this. Oh, where did it go? It got lost. Right over here. Oh, okay. So I'm going to move it like so. Nope, it's got to make it to here somehow, which means I've got to move this to here. Because once I do that, this green and blue will slide up to here. However, I can't use this because this is my short move, but this is already spoken for. How about over here? This is not. I can move it the other way. This red and blue is not spoken for, so I'm going to move it long up, short across, long back, short back over here. Okay. So now I have to remember what I moved. I believe I moved this one, and it went over here. Okay, so now I've got all of my greens, and it's all proper. So now I just keep going. It's going to get a little more challenging as I'm putting more in. So here's a red and orange, red and yellow. This is upside down. This is not where it needs to be. This is upside down. This might be easier to place, and it will. This will come down to here. That's a long move. Now, I can't use this short move, and I can't use this short move. So I'm running into a little bit of a trouble with that. This one is already spoken for, and this one is already spoken for. So as we get down to these last few moves, it becomes more challenging. So what else can that be? Well, this one isn't in, so what if I move this whole thing over here? Now this can become a short move to here. Just got to confirm this is not the right place. So I'm going to move this whole thing over here so it can gain access as a short move through here. So down long, up short, up long, down short. And after having done that, I move this back. So as you can see, it's not the algorithm that's the difficulty. It's basically the setups. So now I can take a look at what I have. This is in, and this is in. Good, good, and good. This is messed up, so these aren't right and these aren't right. What else? I should be down to the last few actually, and this. So I think I'm down to the last three, so I'm ready to try a 3-cycle. What I'm interested now is setting things up so that they all can intersect with each other. This can intersect with this, So this can actually move down here, which is nice because it puts the red one in and the orange one, the yellow one rather, and this is the yellow side and the red side. But now I've got to maneuver this so that this can interact. Because this is a long move, I got to get a short move to bring it in. Now here's what I can do. If I can get this to here, it'll be a short move down in that plane. So I'm just going to take this slice and slice it over there. So I'm just going to do a slice. You can see how wrong that looks. But we're going to go down, down, up, up. And now I take that slice and I slice it back. And in that way, this is now in. All of these are in, and all of these are in. So by doing that, I've got all of these edge pieces in. All these sort of inner edge pieces. So we've got our central areas in, and now we've got these inner edges. We got this middle edge in when we put these in, but now all these are in by intersecting long segments, short segments, and long segments, cutting through the same piece. Okay, that was the most challenging part. The rest is fairly simple, because now putting these pieces in, these pieces and these pieces have the same homology as these pieces. And in the Professor Pyraminx, it was just a matter of long and short moves. It's exactly the same thing. So here's an example. I like to do the sort of inner parts of the outer edges, the lower outer edges. So red and green. Where's the red and green? Now when I move them, I'm only going to want to be moving these layers here. I don't want to move anything else. Here and here. Then when I'm ready to do the top layer, I'm just going to move these layers. So red and green is right here. I got to get this to here. So this and this, these are the different layers that I'm looking at, and I can reposition and position them as much as I want. So this is going to intersect with this layer here and here. So I'm going to take this and move them down, and I'm going to take this and move it across. Then I'm going to go turn, which displaces that other piece, move it back here, and turn. Okay, so that was placed in. This one, remembering that I'm moving just with this segment, I'm just going to move it back. So while I'm here, let's go ahead and do this one. And that's going to be the blue and red. It's obviously not this blue and red because it doesn't fit in the right direction. So let's find another blue and red. And remember, it's not these, it's these. So where is another blue and red? And that would be right here. So how am I going to intersect this? Because remember, that's like this side right here for now. So I'm going to move this down to here, because then this will interact with this side over here. I'm going to exchange it with this because this is not in yet. So we're going to go up, which displaces this, turn it over here, move it down, turn it back. Now this, remember the screen isn't right, so I have to move this back over here. So this is in, and this is in. Let's go ahead and put this one in, green and blue. So where is a green and blue? Green and blue. Right over here, green and blue. So I got to interact, have this one interact with this top layer over here. Just like this. Now if I move this into here and displace it, I can't move any of these in to put it back because they're already in. So what I have to do then is this has to come down and meet this over here. So what I'm going to do is actually move this out of the way. Whoop. Oh, actually, it's got to be over here because it's interacting with this. This is the layer that it's going to be interacting with. So I can't just move it up because I can't displace any of these. So what I'm going to have to do is move this down and then turn this in to fit with it. This is a yellow, this is a red and blue, and I can't help but notice that there's a red and blue over here. So why don't I move this down? I'm going to bring this red and blue down like so, which actually places it where it's supposed to be. Now I can move the blue and green where it's supposed to be here, and then I move it up, and now this is placed properly. And then I'm just going to turn it back. Whoop, turn it back here. So this is in, and this is in. So all these are in this plane. So let's go ahead and do another one. Well, looking over here, this is in, and this is in, because I just put this in. Let's go ahead and put this guy in. Yellow and red. So where's a yellow and red? Here's a yellow and red right here. So I'm dealing with this plane and this plane. So I have to find a way that those guys intersect. And they're going to intersect along here, here, and here. So I'm going to take this, move them over here. Now because this is in and this is in, I don't want to move it here and then move this up, because I'll be turning something in that's already placed. So that means I got to turn this down to here. So I got to get this out of the way. I've got a green and blue. Do I have a green and blue here? And I don't, so it doesn't matter what I use. I just want to put something in that's not in. This one isn't in. So move this down, bring this down, turn, and bring it up, and then we'll bring this back. This one also has to move. So I'm thinking of these as the tips right now. So you can see this is in, and this is in. It might be a little hard to visualize, but remember, we're ignoring this very tip over here. So now we're looking at this point here, 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 and here. None of these are in. So I've got a green and a red. I've got a yellow and green. This is going to come over to here. So now I'm going to displace this yellow and blue, which actually belongs here. So if I take this, I want to move it into this area here. It's going to intersect by coming up to here. Move this in. Let me think about this. I don't think I'm doing this quite right. This is the wrong blue, wrong green and yellow, actually. I need another green and yellow. Remember, this is in the wrong plane. We're not there yet. So there must be another green and yellow. And it might actually even be in this plane, and it is. So this belongs over here. So the way that that's going to work, I'm going to turn it over here. I'm still going to exchange it with this. I'm going to take this, move it to here, bump it out of the way, displacing it. Then I'm going to move it back where it's supposed to go, and then move it down. So now this is in place where it's supposed to be. Boom. Okay, how about here? How about green and blue? So where's the green and blue? Right over here, green and blue. So I'm going to find a way to intersect this part with this part. And that's going to be down here. So I'm going to move this over to here. I want to displace this out, and this one is not in yet, so I don't care if I displace that out of the way. So boom, green and blue in here, move it out of the way, then bring it back down. And now we move this back. So this is in and this is in. We just have this one to go, and that's blue and yellow. We'll move this one back over here too. Here's my blue and yellow. This is in here, and this is not in over here. So I have 1, 2, 3 that have yet to be done. So that's a good 3 cycle. I only have one that needs to be put in here. So this red and yellow, I'm going to put in over here. And this green and red is going to end up over here. This will end up over here. The way that that's going to work is I put this down in place where it's supposed to be, which displaced this guy. Move this into position, and then move it back. And in that way, all of these are now in, and all of these are now in. So really, you can see these middle pieces are now all in. Now it might be a little easier to visualize now that I'm over here, but it's really the same thing. But now I'm only moving this and this. Only these type of tips. Before I was moving this and this, but now I'm going up a level and it's exactly the same thing. So here's what I mean by that. This is already in, red and green. Let's do this one. Red and yellow. Red and yellow, it's right over here. So I'm going to move these in such a way so that these planes can intersect each other. So I move this up, red and yellow's in, bump it out of the way, move it back down, bring it back. right over here. So now I need to do the yellow and green. So where's yellow and green? Right over here. Now because both of these are in, I'm going to find where they intersect, which is here. I can't just move this up. Whoop, that's the wrong one, as you can see. Wrong one. So I need another one. This is another green and yellow. Right over here. Okay, so this will come up to here and this will be in, but I don't have anything to exchange it with up here, so I can't do it like that. Instead, I got to bring this down and get this out of the way. But when I bring this down, let's bring this down into a place that maybe it's supposed to be. Red and green can come right here if it's the right color, right configuration. So I'm going to move this here, move this down, which puts this in place. Then I move this in place and I bring it back. So now all of these are done. And I put this one in. So let's focus on this one next. Here's a red and blue. I need a red and blue here, but this is wrong because this blue is going to end up over here. So find another red and blue right over here. So let's get these guys to intersect by moving this here and this here. Now this is in and this is in. Nope, actually it's not. So what that means is I can take this, move it up, which displaces what was over here, bump this over to here, get it out of the way, bring this back, and it turns out this happened to go into here as well. Okay, so now we're getting down to the last two areas here. Orange and yellow, rather blue and yellow, which is right over here. I'm going to move this into place. Now this is the wrong one. It's got to be this one, because this yellow will end up over here. So bring this up, bump it out of the way. This doesn't belong here anyway, and then bring it down and splat. So this is all in, and now we're stuck with this one, but none of these are in. It's a 3-cycle in the same level. Well, if I had a situation where one was down here and these two are here, then I can just do a simple 3-cycle. I'm going to do a variation of the Sunni, because this is like the top layer, right? So what if I did a 3-sided version of that by going R, U, R, I, U, R, U, R, I, U. Not in yet, so let's do it again. R, U, R, I, U, R, U, R, I, U. And that puts all these in. Move this over here, and now as you can see, we have all of these in. The last are these tips of the center. Now the algorithm that I have with this seems like it might be a little cumbersome because you're going to be moving 5. But what's going to happen is this will go to here, 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 here, and this will go to here. And you may think, well, that's a lot of things going to different places, but luckily you've got a lot of equivalencies. You didn't have equivalencies with this, but here you do. For instance, these two pieces are pretty much the same. They're interchangeable. So we have to set them up in such a way that they can work. So I'm going to start putting this one in. So I'm going to move this over to here. This will go here. Now I don't want to solve, well, actually, this, I'm going to move this down over to here so that this will go here. And like I say, I don't want to solve all of them. I want to get all in but one on each center. This will go here. This will slide over to here. Actually, that will end up solving this, and I don't want to do that. Instead, I'm going to move it over to here so that this will go here. This will slide to here. This green will go here, and this red will go here. So in that way, I'll have put almost all of them in except for one. So the way this algorithm works is this is going to be my R, and this is going to be my U. And that's going to be 1, 1, 1, 1. You do it 3 times. 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay? Everything is in but 1. I've got 2 here, everything but 1, and I've got 2 over here. Now, you could try to get it back to its original conformation. If you mess up and you can't, that's okay. We're just going to solve it as we would a Jing's Pyraminx. So looking around here, how might I do this? This will go here, this will go here. So I did bring it back. Okay, let's find a configuration that's otherwise easy. This will go here, so I'll have everything in but one. This will go here, and this will go here, which will solve that, and we don't want to do that yet. So let's just move it like this, so that this will go here, and then this will go here. This, okay, now I gotta be careful, because what I'm about to do is I'm gonna have, oh, no, this should be fine. So this will go here, so that I'll have all the yellows except for a blue. This will go here, and this will go here, so I'll have all of the reds except for a yellow. This red will go, I'm gonna turn this to here. So it'll have all the greens in except for red, and this blue will go over to here, so I'll have all the blues in except for a green. So in that way, I can have that final conformation that I was looking for. So it's 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get it back. So now you can see I have everything in but one. So I'm going to go ahead and find the right configuration. This blue will go to this side, this green will go to this red will go here, and this yellow will go here, and everything will be fine. So I'm going to move this in into this position, move this in to this position, move this to where this will go here and this will go here, so this whole thing will be done. This red, I have to move this into this position, will go here, and this will go here. Now you may think there's a lot of turning around that I did, but even if you lose track, that's fine. Just reduce your centers. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. And you did it. All the centers here are reduced. All the edges are reduced. These are reduced too. Now, can we find our way back home? Well, I'll move this over to here, so that looks pretty good. Move this over to here, so that looks pretty good. And now this will move over here, and done! You did it! The most complex and many-layered, mass-produced Pyraminx, the Royal Pyraminx, has been solved and conquered in that way. So that's the way that I get through it. At some point, if you'd like me to show the Elite Pyraminx, I've already done that. And to be honest with you, I'm probably not going to do another tutorial on this until it becomes mass-produced. Hopefully it will. But until that time, I thought it would be a good way to kick off or finish off all of Timur's great new puzzles by doing the Royal Pyraminx. Thanks for watching.